We're all queued up now.
Nice.
Nice. Sweet. Let me pull out my questions, but how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's been a pretty calm day. Tuesdays are my calm day.
What did you do today?
Homework.
Only homework?
Only homework.
Only
so
homework.
That's what I mean by calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be relaxed. My dog got some stairs, so she's finally, we're putting a dog door in this little dwarf door right here.
Oh, shoot.
So she has in and out access. So there's stairs right there. So she comes up every now and then. But
Oh, nice.
this is the audio version only now. So this is exclusively only to people who are listening to the audio.
Oh, wow. Exclusive.
But we're going to roll into the video mode. After
Oh, wow. Wait, should I say something for only the exclusive people?
You can say something for the only exclusive people if you want.
In third grade, a hole ripped inside my shirt where my armpit was, and I got extremely embarrassed and tried to use Scotch tape to patch it up.
You're lucky you were a third grade and didn't have armpit hair at that time.
Yep.
That would have hurt so bad.
Smooth as a baby.
Someone at like a men's retreat, their shorts ripped, and it was only guys, so they just owned it and then like ripped all of their pants and went straight boxers.
Gosh.
He's on this podcast actually at one point.
Dang, that's crazy.
So
some
like
legends have come through,
people.
I guess.
All right, we're gonna go right into today's episode, podcast show, whatever you call it. Let's just kind of dive from the first questions to just a general start offer. Just tell people who you are, just listeners, who you are, and kind of what you do.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess there's a lot, so I'll try to maybe condense it. But my name is Jordan Chan, and I've been living on this earth now almost 19 years. On May 4th, Star Wars Day.
Wow, you must be pretty proud about that one.
I am. So is my father. And so kind of what I'm doing now for my job is I work with this place called A-Team. And so we're a construction and painting company, right? Mm-hmm. And so I do marketing and social media for them, which has been super fun in me just learning how to do social media marketing and making like little short advertisements and stuff. But the cool thing is that at their core that I've got to experience is they're a ministry. And so we use the profits that we have and we donate to missionaries worldwide, and we outreach to the local kids in Oceanside. And so it's super, super, super dope and an amazing opportunity. And kind of more, I guess, on the rising is this thing that I'm starting called the Calder Initiative. And so it's this little organization where we had our first event, but basically it's this idea of heal the world and save the people. And
what's the mission statement behind that?
So
is that mission statement?
I have a mission statement, but it's on my phone. So could I?
Yeah, go for it.
I will pull it up.
You are all good. That was kind of diving into my next part is we can get into that like after the mission statement, like how'd you start that?
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you start that? And then what's your vision for that?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I know you're probably super hyped about that.
Oh, I am. I'm so hyped. I'm like just so hyped about it because when it's like there's one thing between a thing that you've done in your life and you pursue in your life, but then it's another thing when it's like something that God puts there and puts a vision for you. And, you know, when those go hand in hand, you're like, it's just totally different because it's a God vision and it's God led, and that makes everything better when it's for Jesus, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I totally get that.
But the mission statement for the Calder Initiative is the Calder Initiative is a community of unordinary people with extraordinary qualities whose soul, so a little play on words, purpose is to heal the world and save the people. We are fueled by the love of God, a flame that ignites desire and conviction to spread light in an increasingly dark world. We desire to provide financially, physically, and spiritually to those in need, a beacon of hope pointing to the hand of God and the cross of Jesus. We are devoted to biblical teaching, honest worship, constant prayer, and a united community. If the Lord's will, if the Lord wills, we shall make an everlasting, life-altering impact.
That's it.
Yeah. So
we can jump
Yeah.
right into that. Why'd you start it, and then how did you start it?
Yeah, so about a year or two ago by now, there kind of had been a feeling that I had wanted to do something that was that incorporated all of the gifts I feel like I have been given in multiple areas by God, and that included like a vast amount of just like I just love doing anything creative.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that. I feel like on your Instagram, I've seen a unique style that I've never seen like really done before, especially with the calligraphy and the music and the videography, photography. Completely different than what most people would do normally. Most people were like, all right, including myself, take a cool picture, slap a cool color grade it. And then you're over here and like editing yourself like 18 different times when you turned 18.
Yeah. I honestly just try to express myself in a way, and I get influences from everything, like anything and everything around me, in some ways just influencing me. And I think that's how I've even been growing up. True story. My parents met in art college, or not art college, in art class in a college. And so I think that's kind of where I get my creative juices from. But it's something that I've been just pursuing my whole life because God gave me such a passion for it. So yeah.
Okay, so then let's get right back to it. So how'd you start? A few years ago.
Yeah.
With friends, bunch of unique different talents and gifts.
Yeah. So a few years ago, about it was more of a vision that God was giving me, and it was weird because when you get a vision of something, you don't imagine it being like where it starts. You imagine it in the grand scheme of things, like, man, this is where it's going to be. This is what I desire. This is what I hope to happen. And so it's like this long-term goal that I've had where it's this community of people, and we're all led by Jesus, and we are constantly just doing things to serve other people. Like with the funds that we get, we have initiatives. So the Calder Initiative, we have different initiatives where we go through maybe like every 3 months or so, where we are going like headfirst, like diving into that one aspect. Like, this is our initiative. This is how we want to help people. This is how we want to spread like the message of Jesus, and we just go at it.
And what does Calder Initiative mean?
So Calder is a word that means, I forgot what language, but it means rushing waters. And so when you look at that idea of this world and it being, rushing waters, as Christians, there is we see the world as this river, right? And it's going down. And I mean, there's so many biblical stories that talk about like rivers, like the Jordan River. I mean, even Jesus being baptized in it. But the world is so going down this river. But as a Christian, we're called to go against the stream.
Yeah.
We're called to go against that current. And so as we go up this current, there's obstacles. There's like rushing water that's coming towards us. And our goal is to, as people come by, we're like, hey, like, this is what we believe. This is what we believe as a truth. And what we believe is going to come. And so we tried to pull them and say, okay, come this way. It's harder. The waters are roaring, like going this way, but it's harder. But in the end, it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
In the end, this is the way you should be going, because at the end of this stream is heaven. It's like eternity.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like Rushing Waters Initiative, like trying to bring people from the things that they're going through, the rushing waters of this earth, and bring them, I guess, to salvation and show them Jesus.
So, question for you then, kind of going before we kind of get more back into the story of how it started. Is it called? What's the technical name for everything? Because you said there's a 3-month like theme, or like that's like a vision of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, here's this initiative, here's this initiative, this is this just like part 1 of the initiative?
I guess you could say that.
And then you thinking about like either rebranding, or is it going to be all under?
Yeah. So we just recently had our first event, which was the Maranatha event. And so this was kind of just a way to introduce ourselves as, okay, man, we just want to have a time to just spend with God. And especially for the Maranatha event, it was like kind of, you can hear in our mission statement, it was a united community.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's one of our desires. And if you look in the Bible, it's like Church of Philippi, Church of Corinth. But it's like today we're so divided, and it's like divided in the sense of different churches even. And it's like we want to pursue being the Church of San Diego, or like the Church of Sacramento or something, right? And so you want to be, we're pursuing that, and just getting to know people that you don't really know. And so that's kind of what the Maranatha event was for, and teaching on this idea of Maranatha, which means like, Lord, come. The Lord has come. The Lord will come. And so it encapsulates the gospel. And so we're trying to bring people together. And yeah, I guess you could say like it's the first part. We're trying to bring people together, and then we want to start using the people and creating a team of people that just want to serve, and go about with the vision that we have.
Okay. So is that going to be, gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So it's a very different type of thing. Huh. Sorry, I was just lost of words for a second. My first mind was when you were talking about the like kind of like the way I would see it is I fish, kind of like it's easier to go downstream than upstream. And have you ever watched the show The Chosen?
Yes.
So you know the
I
intro?
love The Chosen.
That's exactly the bluefish.
Yeah.
I've never paid attention to like last week when I was rewatching some stuff. Like you see all the gray fish going one way, and then they slowly bluefish turning the other way.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. That's like a cool metaphor.
Yeah, I love that. The idea of just being counterculture. When culture says, man, this is the way we should live, this is the way we should go, Christians are like, but this is the right way to go. Like, Jesus is the right way to go. And it's very counterculture.
So what's next then for it?
What's next? So
you had your first event, which was the worship night / teaching, right?
Yeah. So we had our first event. We're trying to start doing them in this rhythm of like every 3 months, 3 to 4 months, we're going to try to have another event. And we want it to be something that's more like special. Not in the sense of being like, oh man, like church should only be 3 to 4 months. Like, no, people have churches that they go to, but these specific events are like, we want to be a place where people can go and meet new people, go in community. And so, yeah, kind of the first steps of this, and going through with it. And hopefully this will eventually turn into my bigger picture vision of, man, just multiple days conference or something where there's like art being showcased, there's film invitationals, there's worship bands that just come and play worship for people, there's like carnival games and stuff. And so these events I want to eventually become something bigger, like a Christian Del Mar fair.
Yeah.
And it's
that's
like,
just like something that kind of runs 24/7.
Yeah, something that
like
maybe
that?
not 24/7, but kind of like on the sense of,
like it's like open, here's the time.
yeah, and it's like 3 day long or something. And it's like, that's our opportunity to say, okay, in this initiative, in this 3 or 4 month period, this is what we got to do. This is what we got to do for other people. This is the impact we got to make. And now we need your help to start to make more impact for this next initiative. And so these carnival things are kind of the fueling to the things that we want to do to just serve people.
Yeah.
And so it hopefully become this ongoing thing, and also a place for people to go. Because I know if right now, if that was a thing, I would be super down to go to an event like that. Yeah. Just like super Christian, like for Jesus event, and just expressing myself creatively.
Would you want it to be something like that? Say if it was like a 3 day, 72 hours, 72 hours, 3 days straight, just lined up, and then the rest of the week, kind of a break.
That
reset.
could be dope. Yeah. Like,
have you ever heard of David's Tent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. I went to one of their more COVID meetings, so it wasn't like I guess the actual thing that they usually do, but it was like a 2-hour event or so. But I've always wanted to go to like their constant worship things, which my friends have gone. I'm like, that would be so dope to just experience.
But that's kind of the vision of the entire thing.
Yeah.
And would you call it what was it?
Calder initiative.
Calder.
Yeah.
I'm thrown off by that A.
Think of like called her.
Called
like,
her.
You called her.
Called her.
Called her. Yeah.
For some reason, I'm thinking clatter. That sounds way off. But that's the vision of it, though.
Yeah.
Something towards that. And would it be called that, or would you want to call it something different?
Yeah, probably something like the Calder Conference, the Calder Carnival. I have no clue, but
Calder
something
collection, Calder.
Yeah, something like that. Just
Calder collective.
this idea that hopefully will just grow into something where people like Jesus lovers and people who don't even know. Like that was another thing is like when you go to a fair or something, a lot of time you're going to have a good time. And so I want it to be a place where, even non-Christians can go to be like, have fun, but then also learn and allow us to be able to teach and show them something that maybe a perspective that they didn't know before. And I think that would be super dope to introduce people to that and push forward our vision.
I've always thought that would have been cool, having like an event, like because I thought of that, like not exactly what you're saying, but something on the creative side, calling it Creative Collect.
Yeah,
something where it's a bunch of creative people collect together in a collection
That'd
and show their own stuff. Kind of now getting a little bit more into your life. Let's just kind of dive into like when did you start playing music then?
Oh man. So
and we can also dive in playing music, doing photography and art then. Too.
Okay.
We can just get right into all
for
of them.
sure. So I guess I started basic at just doing artwork as any other kid. You do little crayon drawings, marker drawings. You literally just draw anything that you want, and it was kind of like a fuel for me. And my dad is very passionate, and my mom is very passionate about like design and art. There's like art all around our house and everything, and so they were constantly inspiring that inside of me. And so I was constantly making new things, and the music part was kind of later in my life, because I grew up in a house church, and they all did, or the core family did music, and so they're very musical. But my family wasn't musical. But it wasn't until 6th grade my brother went to middle school, and like a lot of kids also joined band.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, big brother, I'm gonna join band too. He did trumpet, I did trumpet. So 3 years of trumpet, which went into 4 years of high school doing trumpet. And during high school though, I was like, okay, musical talent, I guess I have it. So I want to use it to glorify God more. And so then into worship and playing worship music, and then learning bass guitar, and then learning piano, all from the church. And I realized I liked playing worship a lot more than I did marching band, because I loved marching band, but like it's when
it's like what you said earlier. It's like,
yeah.
Here, God gives you these gifts, and you can use them in your life, and you are happy about it. But then it's like when you're using those gifts that God gave you to glorify God,
yeah,
it's a way different excitement than comparing to like when you're using those gifts just to like either like do your job or just do it for fun, or like playing in a normal band.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, way different. And so that drove me to being like, okay, I love doing this, and I want to continue pursuing worship. And then with that, it came doing more art that glorified God, and people actually, like when I got to glorify God through my art, people saw it, and it did something different than just saying, oh, that's beautiful piece of art, or but man, that's something that's like I can relate to. Something that can help me. And then there was film introduced into my life, and taking photos, which I was staying away from for the longest time, because I was like, I'm a painter, I'm a drawer. Taking photos seems like it's cheating.
Trait of like the jack of all trades, master of none.
Well, yeah. Also that. Yeah, no, 100%, because
because I get that. Because I remember growing up and doing music and film and photography at the same time.
Mm.
It was either like, for me, it always felt like it was either one or the other.
Oh yeah.
And now I'm in a season of my life where I'm like, all right, it has to be both, and I have to keep it going on both. Because it's either I just drop it completely and I'm just losing out on the gifts God gave me.
Yeah.
Or it's like I use both of them, and then like I can either try to start using the excuses like, oh, I'm too tired, too lazy, like it's too much work, or it's like, no, God gave me these gifts.
No, and that's the thing. Like, that's a super good point, because I realized that I had that mindset where I was like, okay, I do art, I do painting, and so I'm best at that, but everything else I'm not good at. Like, I love doing it, but I'm not as good as I am doing art. And then like as I got through, high school, and I was going, and then now college, it became something where I stopped doubting myself, and I started pursuing like my artistic visions and everything. Like I never thought I could sing. I never thought I could write music. I never thought I could make films, but I was doing it, and I was just pursuing it. And people were like, okay, these are good. And they're all to glorify God. And I kind of make a joke to myself, because I'm like, I feel like I can't sing, but I sing, like I sing and play worship music, right? But it's only when I feel like I'm doing worship music that I'm actually singing well. So I give that all to the Holy Spirit working through me. But it's kind of like this idea of, like, if you doubt yourself and you doubt the gifts that God has given you, like, you're not going to get anywhere. Yeah. Like, you can be all these things, because you even look to David, who was a great writer and a great war hero, but he was also a great musical instrumentalist. So like, people even in the Bible had multiple talents. So it's not you have to do one thing or another. Like, you can be good at multiple things if God has given you the passion and desire for those things. Like, pursue them. Like, don't just stop and think that, man, you can't be good at all of them. Because if you manage your time right, you can, and you love to do it, then you can pursue it and and become good at it.
And I feel like there's this one project that kind of leads me into this next question. There's a project he posted on Instagram. It was kind of when you were in your room. It was like a mess. And it was like, did you record that song?
No.
No, so that was someone else's
wish, but
song.
his song's so good.
Yeah, so I felt like that was a good mix between all your passions, between music, art, and like the film photography side.
100%.
So kind of my question kind of leads into, do you have a process when you're creating art, music, or film/photography when it comes to it? Because you have a very unique style, so I'd be curious what your take is on that.
Yeah, so I guess I'll kind of answer that question by talking about the video. So that was during the time. So I had got COVID over winter break, and so that literally made me miss Christmas and New Year's with my family. Like, we had to socially distance, but like, it's not the same. And it's only me and my mom and my dad right now. My brother's, he moved away, but so it was like a very hard time for me, because you have that feeling where like, this is my fault, and you're also just sitting in your room and you're like, what do I do with my time? And so through that all, I was spending a lot of time like in the Word, like talking to God just about everything that was going on in my life. And I remember I went through a weird time during this where I just wanted to come out of that room having created something, because I'm like, okay, I'm here right now. I want to just create something. I was writing like movie scripts. I was trying to write songs, like so many things were just like, I wanted to do something creative. And I was like also, going through this whole COVID thing and like other things in my life, and my room was really messy, and I was like, man, like worshiping through the mess. And so it all starts kind of with this idea, is what happens with my creative process is, maybe it's like a melody, maybe it's a something I see like in nature, maybe it's my messy room, but something inspires me, and then I look to my life, I look to what God has been teaching me, and that pushes me to create something along those lines of what I see. And so, created this idea of a man, like, and that was another thing that you touched on too. I was like, I love music, I love art, I love film, and I just want to glorify God through it all. And you see all those things. You see animation that I got to draw on directly on it, and you see the film that I got to, capture the way I wanted, and then music from a wonderful, wonderful artist who made a song that's just about, crying out to God and trusting him. Like you even see in the beginning, it's like doubting, and you're like, I don't know, like, am I safe? Am I okay? But God's like, before, like, I put the text in a certain way where it's like, before he even asks a question, God had already answered. Before he says anything, God already answers. And at the end of the film, the guy accepts it, and we see him like walking out of the messy room, like with his mask off. And it's like, he accepts it. He's like, okay, I know this. And God is like, yes, like you understand it now. I've been here the whole time. And so it's coming out of that messiness. And so that's kind of my process. It's just a lot of developing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really deep. Cool.
Yeah.
Kind of want to probably touch on the last point as we're hitting the 30-minute mark.
Nice.
You had, I worded this really interesting, I think. There you go. If you had one piece of advice you would wish that you were given wait, sorry, just scratch all that. What's one piece of advice you wish you were given that you'd give to someone else who wants to start creating?
Oh, man. Okay, I'll try to make this as, like, philosophical as possible. Create the visions that God gives you, like anything. And I feel like there's no easy way to really be like, okay, is this my vision or is this God's vision? But if it aligns with scripture and it's like something that you feel on your heart, like just make it. And I'm not even saying that like everything you create has to be like biblical, and all this stuff, but create to simply create, because God is an artist. He made all things. He made things beautiful. So I mean, I guess another thing is like, if you don't know what to create what God has created. Like just paint a flower, paint a tree or something, like, because you have the artist, the greatest artist of all time watching over you and guiding you, and he's giving you a desire to create. So use that and be like, okay, I want to learn from the master, better than Leonardo or Caravaggio. It's
cool. It's just audio now.
Nice.
This is just kind of like the more fun part. This is my first time doing this too.
Really?
Because I was like, all right, what's the purpose of putting up two pieces of content that are the exact same? My thought was, well, I can make exclusive stuff on this.
Exclusive.
It's exclusive.
Yeah.
Because there's another part I want to talk about is your clothes.
Once we get to the part where people can't see, now we talk about this.
Exactly. Now they're like, wait, now let me go back to the YouTube channel. Okay, can you go around the corner? Just hit the off on there's an AC, hit off. You just need to go to the middle. Boom, done.
Nice. Boom, done.
Sweet. Yeah, no. See, now people are like, oh, wait, what was he wearing?
What was I wearing?
Probably can't see the pants in the camera, but if you guys did, he has handprints on all of his pants.
Yep, handprints going all the way down. And so there's a I feel like there's a story to why every article of my clothes is painted.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have just guessed it was random.
No, it's pretty cool. But I guess, so one of them is my pants, which didn't start with these ones, but I had like jeans and a full load of clothes, and I had being an artist, you kind of forget about things, yeah, as you know. And so I had a pen, and I just left it in my pocket, and of course I went through the wash, and then took all my clothes out, and there was ink like all over all my clothes, like everywhere, and it was pretty bad. It was like the worst on my jeans. And you're like, man, what am I gonna do? And I was like, maybe I'll just paint on them. And so I got my black acrylic paint, and and I just painted these like little lines on it. And then I was like, okay, this is cool. And people were like, these pants are dope. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll do more. I did these ones with leftover ink I had.
Do you buy like new clothes and then just right away paint on them now?
Well, no. It's like 90% of my stuff is thrifted. So.
But still, it's like buying something.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I told my wife, I'm like, the only things I buy is if someone buys me new jeans or like new clothes for me, thanks mom-in-law or mom.
Yeah.
Oh, no one's watching. So I'm like, points into your
You're pointing to the camera.
Or they're all cost $10 or less.
Yeah, exactly. And you can get great stuff that costs like barely anything at thrift stores. And it's like, continue thrifting because thrifting is dope. But then, yeah, I tried to wear like every artsy thing I have for this podcast because I was like, fits the vibe, I guess. But I'll go quickly through. So I've made a promise to myself that I would paint every pair of shoes that I wear, and I only wear one pair of shoes like every year. So I try to paint them. My socks are tie-dyed from this girl who gave me her socks that I bought from her in middle school. My shirt is the one I got to make for the Calder Initiative event, but I specifically painted on it, or not intentionally, but we did a painting project, and something I kind of live by is a shirt is a shirt, but if you did something like a painting project or something like, and you get paint on it, it's like, it makes it a lot more meaningful to you. And people are like, why do you have paint on your shirt? Or why is this on your shirt? And it's like, there's something more meaningful to having clothes that, are different than everyone else's. It's more unique, and allows you to express yourself. And you're like, well, this is the reason for this, which can also lead you to the gospel, which is a low-key side of why I do a lot of things. But yeah,
I thought that was also cool. What you mentioned earlier, though, when you're talking about kind of the vision of what you wanted to do with the Calder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, there you go. Kind of like when you said a really interesting point. It was you had a vision for it, but you didn't it wasn't like, this was like the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know like where to exactly kind of start or like go. You were just like, God's like, here's the vision. Here's what I want you to do.
Yeah.
You'll be able to figure it out. And what I really was thinking when you said that at that point was, that was kind of like exactly Jesus' story. His disciples probably all at one point or another, or if you you've probably seen The Chosen, like obviously it's not accurate, it's close to, but it's like also giving like some story behind. It's like they probably grew up like, all right, the Messiah's gonna come, he's gonna kill the Romans, I'm ready to fight alongside of him. And it's like, nah, I'm gonna die in 3 years. It's gonna suck, it's gonna be hard. You'll all get crucified too and die. James, you're gonna get your head chopped off.
Oh gosh.
Man, it's gonna be rough, and it's like.
And they're like, "Dang, didn't see that coming."
But it was just all interesting because God said, like, here is what the Messiah will do, but all in their mind was just something completely different. But they did know, like, hey, the Messiah is here. I feel like I'm so like my words are slipping up today.
That's all right.
He's here. Just follow him because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And they just got followed God through it.
No,
that was cool.
That's super good because it's like we have, well, especially for me, it was like I got this end goal in mind, but I didn't get how that goal was going to be achieved. And so it's just like trusting God through that. But yeah, for Jesus too, I would argue in saying, though he was God, maybe there were parts in Jesus' mind where he was like, okay, I don't know exactly how things are going to play out, but he knew like these main points that were going to happen. And I'd even actually give that more to the disciples of Jesus saying, okay, this is what's going to happen, but them not knowing the steps that's going to take. And that's where faith comes in. Like, I trust you, God. I trust you that you know what's best for my life. You know what's best to achieve a goal that you have.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. So, well, thank you for the listeners on the podcast who are listening.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
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 Woo.
All right, bye.
Bye.